Crimson Desert is officially out, hitting 230k peak players on its release day, and obviously, it's an absolute test show on literally every level imaginable. Journos are mad because there's not enough hand holding and they are too bad to play the game. PlayStation fanboys are absolutely livid because the game runs like garbage. The stock dropped to the bottom of hell. Oh my god, everything surrounding this game currently is an absolute mess. People are mad that it takes a lot to learn the controls. This, that, oh my god, it is insane what's currently happening. And very, very entertaining, let me tell you, read that right now.
And the conversation online surrounding Crimson Desert just rather kind of baffling, especially some of the accusations and some of the directions this is going. But it shows a divide that has been going on for a while now, especially with these kind of the under the radar, kind of come out of the middle of nowhere the last couple of months, giant experiences. What's happening with Crimson Desert really does remind me of Black Myth Wukong, which happened a couple of years ago. Just you had opinions coming from journalists and mainstream outlets, and then you had opinions coming from gamers just wildly different.
Oh yeah, journalists called Black Myth Wukong sexist because there's no women characters, ignoring that there's literally a whole act kind of, blatantly dedicated to them.
And obviously, I'm not sure if that's exactly what's going to happen with Crimson Desert, but I kind of get the sense based on some of the early reviews that we have seen so far, that's the direction that this is going. So if you have not been keeping up, Crimson Desert debuted on OpenCritic and Metacritic. As you can see, it has an 80. That is not great, it's not bad, it's just not where I think expectations were. A lot of people thought it would be high 80s, and there's just wildly different.
Yeah, but game critics, as we know from yesterday, game critics are too confused because of the lack of yellow paint, and the concept of zero hand holding is very threatening to them, obviously. We're talking about a group of people who did not fail at playing Cuphead. No. They literally failed to do the tutorial in playing Cuphead and called it a bad game because of it. This is what we're talking about.
Opinions within these reviews, like just to showcase some of it, like we have this one coming from DualShockers. They say this is simply one of the biggest games I've ever played, with an astonishing amount of high quality content, an absurd amount of complex puzzles, and a world so gigantic that I still haven't come close to seeing
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Only a game critic can call these puzzles complex. Most of the puzzles in Crimson Desert are... I'm not gonna lie, some of them are... It's not Dragon Age the Veil Guard where the puzzle is, oh, here's a thing that holds a thing, obviously, and it's one of the two things in the room, and here's a thing that you can levitate. I wonder what the puzzle is, okay? It's not that kind of intelligence insulting a tier of puzzle making, but some of these puzzles are like really, really easy, I'm not gonna lie. So, the fact that someone calls Crimson Desert puzzles complex is questionable, you know what I'm saying?
everything after 100 hours of playtime. While the story isn't the best and some bosses seem downright unfair, those flaws do little to diminish Crimson Desert, an absolute marvel and one of the best.
Oh, and also I absolutely love the criticism of Crimson Desert is the game doesn't have enough roleplay. The game doesn't do enough to flesh out the characters. The game's story is lackluster. I mean, if you want the game to have more roleplay, I get it. And that's a valid criticism to technically have. But at the same time, this game never marketed itself as a role-playing game, truly. It marketed itself as a hack and slash. So, the idea that you dislike this because the story is not more in depth, that it's not on the tier of Red Dead Redemption 2, is fair, to be completely honest, but fucking stupid at the same time.
best open world games on the market, 9.5 out of 10. That is what you could call a glowing review. And then Well Played, this is just the flip side of it, a 5.5 out of 10, saying proving that looks aren't everything, Crimson Desert's stunning visuals and strong performances aren't enough to save it from being a disappointing experience. Jam-packed with content and systems that make it feel like a jack of all features, master of none, with an unenjoyable gameplay loop, Crimson Desert is really just a single-player MMORPG in all but name. Another review, again, this is another, I guess you could say,
What a shitty review.
leaning more negative, 6 out of 10. As it stands on release, the best parts of Crimson Desert are buried deep under layers of absurdity. And then 9 out of 10 from CBR. Crimson Desert is everything I hoped it would be, and it has the potential to be one of the biggest titles of this generation of gaming. So just wildly different assessment.
Yeah, even the journals to a degree are kind of split. Is this game bad or is this game good? And again, the player sentiments are also very split. If you look at the Steam comments, the Steam reviews on Steam, it's currently mixed. And, you know, there's like, before watching this video, I actually checked them out, and it was like 9k positive comments and 6.5ish k negative comments. And a lot of the negative comments were, "Oh, this runs like ass, and the controls are bad." That's kind of it. But I mean, we talked about this. We expected Crimson Desert to be something that you can't grasp the controls, the everything in like 5 minutes. We talked about this, that this is going to be a thing. Everyone should have expected this. It was obvious.
And it doesn't appear that many of these reviewers are at the end credits because this game is just so giant. And it seems like it introduces so much, especially late game. But I think the assumptions and some of the things I even said in my last couple of videos have come true. The strengths of the game are very obvious. It is the combat, it is the open world, it's the scale and scope, and the weaknesses
obviously
seem to be leaning in the narrative character direction. And obviously some of these outlets value those characteristics a little bit more over gameplay, and that obviously is one of those wildly...
Wait, if this is how you do things, you should not be a games journalist. You should not be an outlet, okay? Imagine you're a food critic and you know, typically critique hamburgers, and you're like, "Oh, I do hamburgers, but no vegetables." Bruh, that's fucking stupid.
This has been a discussion for a while now about how important that should be. But anyway, before I ramble off about that specific topic, if we go to the Metacritic page, which aggregates, well, it has aggregated even more review scores, 85 of them, it has a 78 out of 100, pretty similar to OpenCritic. And again, this is just the key thing that needs to be mentioned. We only have PC reviews.
Yeah, actually, PlayStation 5 is going to be bad.
Actually, it's up to 94 now, but yeah. We only have PC, and that's because no console codes were given out. Obviously,
as we expected, the consoles are doing bad. People are complaining about the consoles very much.
Obviously, we have seen console footage. It does look pretty impressive, but just one of those things that definitely needs to be noted. Now, you know, gamers and a lot of people have made the assessment that this game could be a Game of the Year contender taking on Grand Theft Auto 6. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be going in that direction anymore.
No, it's definitely going to be a Game of the Year contender because honestly, like, what else are you going to put? But GTA is obviously sweeping. We're kind of memeing when we say it's a Game of the Year contender in a true sense.
Obviously, we'll see what happens later on this year, but it wasn't just the gaming world. The investing world was also thinking that this was the next big thing, the next big developer, the next big... well, this is what has happened. If you go to MarketWatch, their stock has tanked after these reviews. It is...
Wait, this is what I talk about when I say that the markets, stock markets and whatnot, are literal fucking fairy dust and you know, dreams. Because this is bullshit. You know from where this is made from? This is literally like IGN scoring this a 6 out of 10. Now, granted, an IGN 6 out of 10, as we know historically, is a masterpiece, because all the best games that have ever been are scored as a 6 out of 10 by IGN. And Veilguard is a 9 out of 10 by IGN. 10 out of 10, if you ask me. But yeah, this is just a reaction to It's just IGN. This is so bullshit. This is why again I say everything in stonks is just bullshit, okay? Hype is the most determining factor, and these people don't even understand what the real hype is. I mean, 230k on a Thursday, mind you, peak player numbers. I'm expecting to see today something like roughly 250k, and on the weekends I think we can reach 300k. I think we can reach 300k, or maybe even more depending on what happens, because currently there is a lot of confusion about what is the game, good or bad.
Fallen by 30%, which just shows you the investing world was really banking on this game being a standout moment for Pearl Abyss, and it doesn't appear that this is going to be that. But that doesn't mean that this isn't going to be a wildly successful launch. There's already been numbers coming in saying that I think there's like 4 million pre-orders or something, some crazy number like that. So they're going to make bank, but how?
I think there's at least 2 million sales on Steam. Maybe 3 million sales on Steam if they're lucky. And consoles, it's kind of hard to say. Consoles are like 1/3 of as far as I can say from the Steam reviews, judging by non-PC use. I think it's 1/3. So there is a chance that they have sold 3 to 4 million copies already, which is massive, obviously.
Much I think that will come down to probably Steam user reviews, and even then that feels like one of those things that, based on all of the reviews that are coming out now, it could be a period of time we're waiting until hearing some real, lengthy opinions about the complete experiences with Crimson Desert. But yeah, IGN, they published their own review of this game.
We watched this.
It's one of those, it's very interesting because I don't think that they've done this for like Bungie's Marathon, but they actually did score a review in progress, giving it.
Yeah, we're going to skip that. It's garbage. Go watch my previous video. The Bungie, not the Bungie, but the IGN one is just hilariously stupid.
And one that's not exactly the most positive
is the Crimson Desert review.
Crimson Desert would be my definition of.
Oh, look at this! It's this guy who's high 25.7.
Mediocre video game. I think it very clearly chases inspirations from everything you'd already know. It's Zelda.
This guy tried to sell people weed smoking accessories like a tray because people are too stupid to not be toddlers or something like that. Okay, anyone who trusts whatever this guy says, yeah, good luck.
Breath of the Wild. It's Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It is Witcher. It is Assassin's Creed. It pales in comparison to all of those games.
That's not exactly the greatest thing you want to hear.
Sets its sights on such lofty goals.
Well, thankfully, I'm pretty sure that no one actually pays attention to this guy.
Just does not deliver on a gameplay side. By no means do I think it is a bad video game. In terms of, the pros, immediately I would toss out. It is a gorgeous open world. I don't think facial animations are good. I don't think lip syncs are good. But to focus on that would be ignoring how gorgeous this place is.
I mean, pretty much overwhelmingly negative, I would actually have to say, even though they're trying to paint it that, oh yeah, gorgeous open world. But like I said, just wildly different opinions that you're seeing online right now in regards to this game. Jake Baldino of Before You Buy saying Crimson Desert starts rough. I honestly dislike the first 8 hours. Once it opens up and you get more power plus abilities, it's a ton of fun. Gene Park.
Yeah, that is also a very popular opinion, by the way.
Of the Washington Post saying no Crimson Desert review from me yet. Exploration is incredible, but I dislike the combat quite a bit. It's not bad, but it plays like the Assassin's Creed RPG era of slashing a guy 5 to 6 times before doing a finisher with loose dodges and rolls and plastic feeling.
100. Anyone who compares this and ironically to Assassin's Creed is just stupid. It is what it is. Okay, there's no way to sugarcoat that part. A lot of these game journalists are just incoherent idiots. They're bad at their job. They're bad at playing games, so their opinions don't matter.
Defense, and this was actually endorsed kind of by ACG, by Jeremy Penter, great reviewer, saying same. And Gene Parks followed up by saying, it feels weak and unexciting. I don't look forward to any fights. This is probably the most positive. It's going kind of viral on social media right now. It comes from Luke Stevens. This is his opinion of the game, and it's just drastically different than the ones that we've gone over.
Crimson Desert is one of the most remarkable games I think I have ever played. At this point, more than...
Hearing Lukey Poo say that, boys, did we make a mistake on Crimson Desert? Is it the worst game ever made, maybe?
60 hours in. It's far from perfect, but I am so thoroughly impressed with it. I think its strengths far outweigh its weaknesses. Like, I'm not joking when I say that some of the stuff they do in this game makes it look like other studios aren't even trying. It's ridiculous. It is massive, it's complex, it's unapologetic in its lack of yellow paint and hand holding, and it's filled...
And that's specific...
I knew he was gonna say something weak. Okay, Luke is a master at saying something like that and then not actually giving a point. Asmongold's really good at it, Luke is really good at it. You know, these people who say something that entices people in the right direction, but then they don't really have an opinion. Like, you can't say... he said so much that needs to be explained and explored there. Oh, this, that, and that, and then he's like, there's no yellow paint. Hee hee ha ha hoo ha. That's it? That's it? Your opinion is irrelevant in that case.
Fact right.
But it does a good job stirring up shit.
There, this has been brought up by actually a couple of different reviewers, saying that the reason, well, we're going to get to Luke Stevens' specific remarks, which have stirred up a lot of controversy, but other individuals have endorsed that perspective, saying that this game does not handhold, and that might be unappealing to some of these review outlets, and thus why they gave the scores that they did.
Filled to the brim with systems and ideas that keep you engaged for no doubt hundreds of hours. At this point, I'm not totally sure how long it's going to take me to roll credits, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's well over 120 hours based on my current pace of progress.
Yeah, that's insane. But this is exactly what...
We knew that this is going to take a long time to finish. We knew that this is at the bare minimum for an average player, at least 40 plus hours of gameplay. And if you're engaging with shit, then probably 100.
What I'm talking about. I actually pointed out, I was talking about this on my Twitter account, follow me if you haven't already, but I talked about the fact that this could be one of those games that critics don't like it, but users love it. And Luke responded saying, I predicted after the preview that this is one that game journalists will loathe. There is zero hand-holding, and even at the preview event, I witnessed several journalists from big outlets getting stuck in the tutorial puzzle for 45 plus minutes. And my God, did his comments stir up a ton of controversy, people going after him with some of the stuff in his past and such, and many people just calling out YouTubers.
Oh God, look at that, Jordan after. I think the narrative game... Dude, Luke has been recently on the arc of, oh, I'm gonna do everything to not get called a shill. Because, man, there was this... It kind of peaked like a year ago, but most people, even his most loyal audience, by the way, the people who actually like his videos and support him, were like, oh, look at that, Luke got paid again. Wow, big surprise. And he took it very personally, and he has been for, I don't know, half a year at the least at this point, like on an absolute massive crusade to change his image to not be a shill for these companies, which is crazy, and not be in general a shill for like legacy media. And now we have Jordan after. I do think that narrative game journalists is bad, is stupid, and super generalizing. Sure, there will be people that struggle, but so will many play. Shut up.
Period, and other games, it's a mess online right now. We did have Andy Cortez, I showed him from Kind of Funny Games, saying, none of my games media friends, coworkers have an issue with the lack of hand-holding. Seems like they just...
Lies. If this is not a thing that actually affects you, then why are you fucking even replying? Like, Jesus Christ.
Wanted compelling characters and an interesting narrative in addition to the cool...
And this is the stupid thing I was talking about. Why doesn't it have more RPG features? Why doesn't it have a deeper story? Well, because it's not a game that does this again. Like, yeah, it's valid to want more story technically, but the fact that that's your main critique of a game that never promised you a story is insane. It's the same as going back to Black Myth Wukong and then complaining that it's not a city builder. And that's why you dislike the game, because it doesn't have city building elements.
Cool systems. Come on, man. Let's be better than the games journalists suck at games crowd. We had Gene Park responding to this, saying, I'm a journalist who covered crime and military and education and politics, and the zero hand holding is the best.
Wow, I covered crime, boys. That makes me really smart. I am really smart. I cover crime, politics. Yes, we know. Every single failed political pundit is a game journalist, by the way. Thank you for keeping the meme alive. It's not a meme, actually. It's the fact. I and many others have been saying this for years. Every single games journalist is just a failed political journalist.
Part about Crimson Desert, it does feel like a classic CRPG realized in a dynamic and well-animated massive world with lots of weird interactions in towns. Jake Baldino saying, I like the no hand-holding, but I got stuck on the puzzles too because it sucked ass as a puzzle. Gene saying, the tutorial sucks, LOL. And he further responded to somebody saying, I don't get the obsession with narrative and compelling characters. I love story games, but critics pick and choose when to forgive games without a story, like platformers. Gene saying, here's the thing about CD's issue, Crimson Deserts. Zelda don't have much of a story, true, but you have a goal at the start. That's your player motivation. With Red Dead 2...
I mean, you can... This is literally the same as Crimson Desert. You also have a goal at the start.
You have a lot of plot motivation, but the player motivation is to learn more about Arthur, a compelling character. Crimson Desert has none of that. It's like an MMO.
The player motivation is not to learn about Arthur as a character, by the way. That's bull.
Which is where this game did start, except you can't even create your character. Here's this main, go play the game.
I mean, can you create your character in Zelda? This is why games journalists are absolutely useless.
All you get, and clearly it seems like a lot of outlets not meshing with this game so far based on the opinions being shared. Blaine Smith, another reviewer, saying, sat with dozens of content creators and journalists this last 2 weeks, again responding to Luke. Anyone who has completed Crimson Desert at this point is objectively good at video games. No guides, no tips and tricks, hard puzzles, difficult boss battles. And I guess, I think he's trying to insinuate, like, the reviewers, which is journalists, they're very good at video games and pretty much going against this narrative that games journalists are bad. And another opinion we have here coming from Blue Thunder, another influencer, content creator. Again, it's another glowing review of the game.
It really is that good. And the first thing I wanted to show you was just the environments, man. Like, look at this town. Look at the water. It's absolutely stunning. Of course, you can go all the way down here. We also...
Okay, hot take. Am I the only one who doesn't think Crimson Desert is stunning? I think, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a bad-looking game. I think it looks pretty neat. But I am definitely not gonna call it stunning or amazing. It's good. Yeah, but it's... I don't think it's anything super special. I think it's good. It's impressive that you can see all of the world like that from high above, true, but again, it's like... I'm not impressed by the graphics that much. Am I crazy?
We have this location here, which, believe it or not, is actually one of the smaller towns in the game. Vast village down here. Big castle you can fully go on and explore and accept quests in. And then above the map are all of these sky islands that you can explore, and you can literally skydive right off the top of them. And everything you're seeing, literally everything, you can go and explore. This is...
Yeah, like, it's just crazy how different these opinions are about Crimson Desert. Feels like this might be the most polarizing game of 2026. We'll see where things go, but that's a positive review. And then we have this one, a 4.5 out of 10, which says Crimson Desert, this is a Brazilian outlet, tries to be bigger than it should be. And
Brazil's just mad there's no carnivals in this game. In any case, as you can tell, it's an absolute mess. It is an absolute mess. And again, this is not even counting the players' opinions, which is a different video. I think I'm gonna upload it before this one. So, check that one out if you haven't, because the player opinions are even wilder. Or it's after this, so who knows. Anyway, that was Legacy Kill HD, 10 out of 10. Bye!